Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what you see before you going up on eBay's classic website for no reserve, starting off at one single penny and selling to the highest bidder for no reserve, is my totally custom Volkswagen El Lobo dune buggy. Yes, folks, what you see before you is a El Lobo body on a 1967 Volkswagen professionally shortened pan. This is not a Myers-Manx original, and this is not a Myers-Manx clone. I will go ahead and put that disclaimer out right now. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people are under the assumption that they have a original Myers-Manx dune buggy because that's all they know. And Myers-Manx is actually the company, Bruce Myers himself, that started the dune buggy craze back in the early 1960s. So, again, folks, the way to tell a little history on the Volkswagen dune buggies and Myers-Manx, the main difference is because there was over 400 different vehicle manufacturers of the body that put Bruce Myers and Myers-Manx out of business. The correct way to tell for a little history is back here on the driver's side on the original Myers-Manx. Underneath the battery tray right here, there is a spare tire compartment behind the driver's side, as well as a battery tray right here on the original Myers-Manx. Some of them have it, some of them don't. And then a lot of times you can tell by the cutout in the license plate, but I won't touch on that because a lot of people have copied the license plates. A lot of times there are serial numbers back there where the VIN is that people take off for the stamp of the Myers-Manx, and then they take the emblem of the cat off of the Myers-Manx. But again, folks, this is a El Lobo Volkswagen dune buggy. I believe it is actually manufactured out of Woodland, California, from the buggy supply from my research on the El Lobo. I've had numerous Volkswagen dune buggies, and this one's quite a bit different with the features that it has. So to start, you're buying this from me. It's my dune buggy. It's registered to me in my name, clean, clear, Arizona title. But the main difference between my Volkswagen dune buggy and a lot of the Volkswagen dune buggies that you see out there is this one has a different paint scheme, folks. This isn't a paint job or a powder coat or any type of PPG material. This utilizes what is called Linex. So the entire car, from the body to the inside to the underneath, is coated with Linex sprayed in bed liner material. So if you look right here, that is the Linex, and it's actually on both sides. And Linex is one of the companies that actually uses this type of material that all mostly new trucks come with. Instead of the plastic bed liner, is the heavy duty sprayed in bed liner material. So they have Rhino line, they have Linex, they have, I believe the other one's called Raptor, and then they have Inyati and Duraliner and all that stuff. But Linex is very, very, very heavy duty. It's very thick, almost puncture resistant. And the great thing about this, folks, when you look at the entire car here, this is actually done in a two-tone combination of the Linex. So it goes from like almost like a bright sun-kissed orange right here to starts to transition to like a burnt orange, or maybe like a competition orange, then transitions right here to like a I call it like a Saturn red, and then all the way back to all red in the entire back of the car. So it is a two-tone combination. I want to be able to get the entire glimpse of the car here. If you can almost see the two-tone line where it goes from the red to the orange down here. And the great thing about this Linex material here is the entire car is covered in it from top to bottom here, including the Reg Crest right here for the El Lobos, which are very notorious to differentiate them between the Manx. A lot of the Manxes had the cutout here for the fuel tank. But this is actually weather resistant to any type of oil, any type of gasoline, any type of water, any type of chemicals, any type of weather increments that you might experience. So you can actually use this car anywhere in the United States, even in Canada, any type of wet climates like Seattle. If you actually have a lot of cold climates, it's actually going to be rust resistant, not rust proof, but it's very, very, very heavy duty. All you have to do is rinse this down, water, it's self-drying. Like I said, you're not going to get any type of oil or gasoline or any type of blemishes. It's very, very thick, The fiberglass has been completely coated. There is no cracks, there's no spider cracks, there's no chips. The whole entire car is sprayed on very, very thick. It's actually almost puncture resistant, scratch resistant, so you don't have to worry about, you know, door dings. It's perfect for car shows, folks. I have yet to see another dune buggy that has been completely two-toned rhino lined. So it's a very nice little unique feature on the car. Like I said, it's very, very cool. I want to go ahead and fire up the car here for you just to show you. It does utilize electronic fuel pump. And then I'll go ahead and show you the inside of the car here in 1 second with the rhino line continued on. So as you can see right here, we'll go ahead and fire up the car. Fires right up the electronic fuel pump. Little cold, folks. Go ahead and turn on your headlights right here. This is your low beams right here. So your low beams are on. It's a little chilly outside here in Arizona. Got your tail lights right here. And you got your license plate light right there. Tail lights. I'll go ahead and turn on your high beams for you as well so you can see the high beams. There's your high beams. I'll go ahead and show you the horn right here. Then you have another toggle switch. Actually, two of them right here. This one right here is for your interior lights, which I will show you right here. There you go. There's your interior lights. Low cockpit lights. Your lights light up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the car. And then I want to go over the entire car here and just show you the inside. All rhino lined as well. So like I said, it's very, very easy to clean. And then here you have what are very nice upgraded, you know, Corbeau racing style seats. Those are very, very expensive with the black welt or the piping they call them. Actually utilize 4-point harnesses, 2 for your shoulder, 2 for your lap to keep you securely locked in. You can add a 5th for your crotch. Both passenger and driver's seats fully adjust. They will accommodate someone from about 5 foot to about 6'6", 6'7". I'm 6'2", and I can clear underneath the windscreen or the windshield, along with my buddies that are, you know, 6'6", 6'7". They drive underneath the car, and they still are underneath the windshield, which is kind of cool. But these aren't the cheap little, you know, I'd say like MPs that are kind of like, I'm not a fan of them, or the race trims. These are very, very high dollar Corbeau racing seats, the same as Sparco. You know, they put these like along with the PRPs in the off-road UTVs and the race trucks. So Corbeau, Sparco, very, very heavy duty seats, very, very comfortable. You have your fire extinguisher, doesn't pop out of any gear. And then down here below is your line lock parking brake, inline parking brake. Cruises about, you know, 75 or so, depending on your weight. It's got obviously your driver's mirror, your passenger's mirror, a couple other goodies that you have in the car. I'll go over that here in a second. Your fuel tank back here, and then some other little key features back there. I have a bike receiver. You can put your mountain bike back there, a 29er or a BMX bike is what I like to ride. Very, very simple. You know, if you want to put any type of cargo back there, you can actually go to Harbor Freight and get the cargo compartment. A lot of people utilize those on the back of their cars, their pickup trucks, and you just fabricate your bracket so it clear obviously over the gas tank. But so going back to the car here, electronic fuel pump for the gas tank, and then down below, which is kind of cool to prevent theft, you can actually turn off the fuel. If you look right there, there's your fuel turn off switch, and then your key, you know, take it to car shows, leave it unattended. You can also pull it back here for another safety feature. Right back here by the coil wire, you can actually disconnect the negative, and that will kill the car. So you have your keyed ignition, you have your coil wire to prevent theft, and then turn off the fuel to the fuel tank. So it's kind of nice. I mean, you know, if someone wants your car bad enough, but they'll take it. So to go on to the expertise, which I like to talk about on the Volkswagen. This is a 1600cc Volkswagen dual port motor, in my opinion. So I'm completely honest with people, there's no way to tell on these Volkswagens unless you build them or you have the paperwork, or the third option is if you tear them down completely. You have to measure the bore and stroke of the pistons, the crank, and the heads. So in my opinion, this is a 1600cc dual port, dual single barrel carburetor. So this utilizes the 1600cc stock Solex carburetor single barrel. A lot of these Volkswagens started off with, 1300cc single ports. That's where they have the split right there. And then they went to the dual port. And then they actually went to 1600 cc's. And in my opinion, just based on the performance of the car, the top end speed, I believe it's a 1600 cc. It could be, bored out to a 1641 cc, but I don't believe it has a cam. And then usually on the 1600 cc's, you have a single carburetor or dual single barrel carburetors like this one. Then they start going to the 1776s, start running like a single 40 Weber or a single 40 Delorto. If you can find the original high dollar sought after Delorto, 40s or 48s, those are too big of a carburetor in my opinion for this motor, but those are very highly collectible. They actually use those on Ferraris. They don't make Delortos anymore, and that's why people want so much money. But then the next step, if you can find the original Webers, the Webers from Italy, the 44s, IDF, the 44 Webers from Spain are kind of then you got the Solexes, which are great carburetors, the PIC Solexes, stock carburetors, and then the Cadrones, and then the Empis, which you want to stay away from. This utilizes the Bosch 009 distributor with the sand seal pulley right there, so you can adjust your timing with your timing marks, usually between 5 to 7 degrees above top dead center. Also utilizes upgraded ceramic coated exhaust with the Empy Stinger right here with a baffle, so it's very, very quiet. You won't upset your neighbors. As you can see, when I fired up the car, it was cold. It runs absolutely perfect. I'm touching it. I mean, it's very, very cold right now, folks, but it fires right up. Electronic fuel pump. Going back to the car, these things all drip. They all mark their spot. Typical Volkswagens. This one's no different. They usually drip from the valve covers, which are notorious, but these are the good stock clip-on ones that you put a rag in there or a screwdriver. These are the ones that you want, folks. You change these with the oil, when you adjust your valves, you can do every other oil change. And you put in the cork cardboard valve cover gaskets. Don't use the rubber ones because they drip. They also drip sometimes from the rocker tubes down below, or even the actual oil cooler seals, but this one's no different. It just marks its spot. But like I said, the performance on the car, it runs absolutely tip-top shape. No popping out of gears, cruises on the freeway, gets tons of looks. A couple other things you can do on the car if you don't like Volkswagens, or if you wanted to do something different for a little extra performance, you can pull these motors out, folks, by yourself. Take you about 20-30 minutes. It's 4 bolts, 4 17 millimeters, comes back between the starter right there, and then you have a new battery. You just disconnect the starter, 2 17 millimeter bolts there, and then on the other side disconnect your fuel line and your throttle linkage, and then you can actually pop this motor out. You don't even have to disconnect the exhaust, which is nice. And you can put anything you want in there, folks. You can actually tear this down, upgrade the motor, put a turbocharger on these things, upgrade the heads, pump them out to 250 horsepower, 300 horsepower with a 2276. You can put on street limiter heads or CNC Fat Daddy heads. You can put on a bigger crank, 94 millimeter pistons. The sky's the limit, of VZ 125 cam. Or if you don't like Volkswagens, or if you wanted to go even something with fuel injection, they actually make a CB Performance fuel injection kit, which you could do, or you can actually pull the motor out. A lot of people are putting in Subarus, Subaru EJ20s with turbos pumping out about 250 horsepower. You can pick those up all day long for about $700, $1,000. Put in an EJ 2.5, a 2.5 liter or WRX, about 300 horsepower. You add your regular radiator in the back, and then there's a Kennedy clutch adapter for the transaxle from Kennedy Clutch, and that runs you about $500, and they actually make adapters for any type of motor for this particular vehicle. So with that being said, you can put on a Chevy Ecotec, you can put on a Subaru, you can put on a Honda, you can put on fuel injection, but the car is perfect the way it is. It fires right up. It's got some LED lights down below here, which you just have to hook up right there. All LED lights just like down below. And then, just your stereo needs to be, I would upgrade the stereo. It's not hooked up at the moment, but it's got pile driver speakers. It turns heads everywhere it goes. It is a very, very cool classic little buggy when compared to the Razors out there. And the great thing, folks, is you don't even need a trailer. You can actually hook this up to a tow bar right here. Utilizes a tow bar from Harbor Freight. Tow this thing in neutral, tow it wherever you want to go. No reserve auction, folks. Thank you and good luck.